All right, y'all. So I apologize in advance. I have a few videos. I think I worked out the kinks because I've recorded so many videos, and because of the size, I wasn't able to upload like the full video. So I've been doing more traditional trading, just because it's easier for me and my sanity as I am trying to work and do other things as well. So I'm just gonna kind of go back to the basics of just regular trading and then show like real, tips and things that I do around that. I mean, obviously, if you like any of the other methods, that's fine. But as I've mentioned, even with the traditional trading, you have to take what the charts are giving you. And so, the good thing about all these live charts is you can always scale back and see how things went. So I am giving you all my moving averages. I use five of them. Okay. So sorry, I've been doing this and redoing these videos for a minute, so I'm tired. But um, I got the 250, which is going to be my thick white line. You'll see it when you see the chart. Got the 200, which is another white line. The 100 is the teal, 50 is the red, and moving average 20 is the blue. So I'm just telling you that just in case you want to set it up and want it to kind of match mine. And just remember all of them select EMA. So oscillator still well, yeah, I think I was doing 95.5. I'll show you guys 95.5. Now you probably want to do the one pixel for the periods there because you want to be able to see like that cross. So you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to it. But this is a setup. Just as a reminder, use the EMA, not SMA. And then KELTNER channel, RSI, zigzag, MACD. This is the setup. Some of these are defaults. So yeah, like I said, this is my total setup. Okay. And then I work off of that and always trade responsibly. So I always try to show some sort of guidance or provide some sort of guidance. So if you're successful, I mean, great. But if you're not, or if you're kind of like doing good, doing bad, or whatever, or not, I shouldn't say bad, but just kind of like in between, you can control the bleeding. So I trade, I'm back to five trades now. Then I just kind of get to the point because I'm doing longer trades. So for the longer trades, I'll do larger amounts. For the smaller trades, I'll generally do like little, here and there's. Okay. You'll see what I'm talking about here shortly. But essentially, if you wanted to stick to a 5 to 6 trade rule, there's six since I have it right here. I just want you guys to not get too caught up with, like I always say this, the dollar amount. So $200 a day to some doesn't seem like it's a lot of money, even though you'll take it if somebody gave it to you. But $200 a day, 7 days a week, $1,400 a month. That's 5,600. You guys can see. So even if you do $100 a day, it's still good money. Okay, 700 a week. Um, okay, like you're not turning down that money. 2,800 in a month. I'm sorry, just to keep going. So you're not turning down that money if somebody was to give that to you freely. So don't feel pressured to do the most. Okay. Like it's all about building confidence in yourself, confidence in the system that you plan to use. And once you do that, all the money stuff comes. But at the end of the day, you got to control the bleeding. So my thoughts are honestly, if I'm following this method here, these numbers, I'm going to put $50 in my account. That gives me two chances to get it right. Now, technically speaking, sometimes I don't come in just trading. I like to give myself a warm up, so I may do like one that's like I might start off with 13 if I'm doing a 25 or whatever, and then just kind of get my feet wet some because depending on the time that you do it, you might be tired, and you just kind of need to refresh your mind on what you should be doing. So to each his own, but that's like I said, my system is five. I always give myself at least one to kind of get into the groove of things. If I get it, that's fine. If I don't, it'll be in this case at least, 12 or $13 out of the 50 total. So I can kind of regather my thoughts rather than have two chances and be out. Okay, but stopping the bleeding is very important because again, if you're making 200 a day and you have a bad day or two, you're still up. you're still up $100. So it is very important that, like on my end, I deplete my account every day, so I don't go in and blow it. I've been there where you're up a lot, and because you want to get back to that number, you keep trading, 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 then you keep losing, losing, losing. So by taking the money out, I avoid all of that. So um, this is the setup. I hope you guys can enjoy it. Let's get to the trades, and yeah, let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna go over a couple things as this is playing out here. This is kind of how I use the Kettler channel. Again, just pay attention to the time frame. This is a minute and a half. In terms of this process that I'm about to show you, I generally, so if I'm trading at a minute, on a minute clock, I'm going to go for short trades, and short trades are what I would consider um anything from 5 to 6 minutes. Anything shorter can be I mean, I don't know. It's like the longer the time frame, the easier. I shouldn't say the easier it is, but it is easier to identify like the direction and give yourself that grace period that you need, right? So I'm going to show you how to use these real quick. You can allow that to play. Trust me, I'll talk about it here shortly. I just want to point out a couple things. So for every anybody trading, you should always have a like a common theme, right? My common theme is retracements. I look for opportunities for bounce back, so that's why I'm able to trade, um, regardless if we're in a buy or sell position, right? So right now, all your moving averages, so that's the double white lines I mentioned. The 250 is the thicker one. But all the moving averages are underneath the white, just showing me that, and this is a sale period, right? So I should be selling only. So just real quick, the only sell opportunity you have is here. Now, if you're following that, then okay, cool, that's fine. You got a safe trade, and that's cool. Me personally, I like to, mix it up to get more opportunity. And so um, trade responsibly. If you're going to do that, like you see, this is a lower amount that I'm using, but it's because I'm doing a shorter time frame and I'm trying to get some quick grabs while I have one kind of out there, right? So with that said, I'll go into this one real quick, the strategy. So first, as always, we pay attention to RSI, right? Second, oscillator. Third, MACD. And the reason why is because the RSI is going to help me to time the bounce back. So ideally, I want a situation where that red is being touched. But just so that you're aware, and what I was showing prior to this when the video was playing was that there's a support zone there. So if it doesn't touch it, I'm fine with that. To being Doing a longer time frame gives me some grace just in case it does go down some more and then shoots back up. But anyway, the ideal situation would be there where that touches, then we jump over to the oscillator. So oscillator, what I'm looking for is the same touch, but I'm looking for a clear separation. So clear separation takes place right here, because this would have been an opportunity if I took this, okay? And then the third, I should say not last, the third is my MACD. So I want to make sure if I'm buying that the lines are underneath the zero, right? So there's a horizontal line, dash line here. That's probably hard to see right now, but it's there. And if you're going to buy, you want to make sure that pressure is coming up to the zero. So ideally, this isn't the ideal time. I didn't get into it anyway, but if I did, based on my method, it would have worked. So my method, considering those three areas, are is using the channel. So the channel here, as you can see, is the bottom. I just got to highlight it in white. The channel I like to look at as some sort of greedy individual, real greedy. So things get away from it and they pull it back in, right? So I want my price point, my candles to be outside the channel. And once they return in, they're going to ideally go one way or the other outside the channel, right? So when I'm coming up with time frames vary based on the chart. And sometimes, I don't like if a chart is showing me 3 minutes, I'm not, even if it's consistent, I'm not dealing with it. I'm not going to, 3 minutes is too short. So you got to find a chart that makes you feel comfortable. So Like I said, in terms of time frame, 5 minutes is fine, 6 minutes is fine. 4 can be pushing it, but I don't do 3 minute, and sometimes with this method, 8 and stuff is too long, right? And because what I'm doing is based off of the minute time frame. If you start going too short, then you're going to end up having to use the seconds, and that can be unpredictable. Okay, so keep it easy. The longer the time frames, the easier the chart is to read and select some sort of direction of travel. But what I do is I allow it to go out, and once 1, 2, and 3 are doing what I want it to do. So touch the line, starting to reverse. Touch the line, starting to reverse. I have a cross that shows green. In this case, this is kissed because it was already reversing, which is fine. It's just a piece that I felt good about. I would have felt good about is the fact that these are all red here, and right here you have a combination and a small red and green. So it's letting you know that there's some reversal. Now the other piece is this channel. The channel is you can't see that. The channel is curving out. All right, so it's curving out. So with the channel curving out, it lets me know that there's going to be a reversal. So where do you enter in these situations where I'm buying against an overall sale? I'm going to try to come in as low as I can. So not low as I can in outside the channel, as low as I can on the channel. So once I have a little bit of body, or it won't show a body at the time, but once I have that price point going a little bit, on the inside, I'm entering, and then as you can see, if you can count them, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles, so at least 6 minutes of it in green, and then it starts to return for another two, but you're not at risk at all for being out. So that's why I say you don't want to get into it for 8 to 10 minutes because that might be too long based on the time frame that you're using. So it may work if you're using a 2 minute chart. I don't deal with 3 minute charts, but if you're using a 2 minute chart and you kind of following the same principle, you may just have to adjust the time accordingly. So who knows? But on my end, I do the minute. I look at the two sometimes, but I do minute, I do 5, I do 15, I do 30. And with that said, the time frames in which I would trade will go up. So you just have to adapt to what the chart is giving, right? So that's the one opportunity that I just showed, just using my method. If you were to continue that um, across the board, following the same method, and I see my trade actually stopped. Sorry, so this was yesterday's. Let me move this out the way. Okay. So so if you're following that same method, so this was your one. Goodness, this just doesn't want to stop the video. Let me do that again. Okay, stop. All right, so that's the one. Because it's touching, the RSI is touching, so I would have been paying attention. The next one would be here. Okay, so RSI isn't touching, it's close, but it's not touching. But what is touching? The oscillator. And then remember, this is a moving ceiling. So it's not a straight line, it moves. And again, this is a price point. I mean, it's not an exact price point, it's an area. So I don't need it to touch the white line, but that's two opportunities that you could have taken advantage of. I think that was the initial one anyway. But as you can see, everything matches up as it should, right? So RSI is at the top, is going to bounce. Oscillators at the top is going to bounce. And then you have those double lines, even though, oh my goodness, I don't know why this thing keeps moving on me. It's like it just doesn't want to stop. All right. Okay, there we go. So you got the double lines. I had to double check. You got the double lines in the zero area, but again, that the double lines are starting to curve, right? But if you're paying attention, again, the oscillator is going to give you the play. Is it doing this again? I don't know why. What's wrong with it? It's like it's haunted, guys. It just wants to keep showing you the same video. Well, it doesn't stop. Whatever. I'm gonna just keep going. I don't know what's going on with it. But anyway, it's been a long day. So it's curving, as you can see. It's not going to, you're not waiting for it to cross exactly because this is the shorter time frame. If you're doing longer time frames, like when I do longer time frames, I'll wait for it to cross. because I'm playing the long game. But in this case, I need to get it early because by the time it crosses, just remember it can cross and then it can come back over, right? So that was two, and then third one is this one, right? That we're in. So one, two, three, as you can see, I'll erase. You got three quick trades just using this one method, just looking at one chart. And so if you're doing 5 or 6 trades, you got one here. You can find another one where you can get, same amount. I mean, and like I said, you still have those that you're playing a long game with. So it's easy. I mean, I won't say it's easy, but you can find these opportunities. It's just like trying not to overwhelm yourself with a bunch of charts and then missing them is where people mess up. So it's like, man, if I was on this chart a minute ago, I would have caught that. But sometimes I just like leave two up and I'll just wait for it to happen. And when it does, it does. Because again, this is just a minute. So it doesn't, and this is, I think this was at night. Yeah, this is at nighttime. So what's that say, the 20th hour? So this is technically a slow period here. So this trade, again, we have a support zone that's pretty close. All right. So RSI isn't touching, but I feel good about the support zone. And where I entered is right here. So what's going on? Straight down. Ooh, that's a good straight line. I know y'all impressed. So this is all the stuff that I would have seen in real time. I should reverse it, but I know you guys don't want me to do that. So the one area, it's going upward, right? So it's underneath the 50, but it's pointing upward. The number two, the oscillator, that's exactly where it crosses, and the oscillator is going to predict what number three MACD is going to do at some point. And I just want to make sure that those lines are under the zero and that there's, especially in this case, a green curving line. Okay, a strong curve. Okay, so once I'm just going to rewind it so you can see what it looks like. So you see how these things, so this is why it's important to practice this stuff so you can see how it looks. So right there is ideally what it looks like in real time when you make that decision. I mean, right there. Okay. So it's not going to be looking all how I just showed you in real time. You have to be able to eye these things, which you can see. Okay. And the great thing about this, when that zero is being approached and that cross is happening like that, it just springs up. It springs up and it gets you to where you need to get to. So, I'll fast forward and you see it spring up, which it's doing, and this will be a great win. Okay. So, like I said, you can have a couple opportunities like this in the meantime if you want to trade long and short. But let's go to one of the long, or I have two long trades I want to say. And again, sorry I had to cut them short to make them fit, but I think I figured it out. So I might be good going forward at least. So let's see next time, but let's get to. Okay, so again, apologize in advance. I had to snip the majority of this to fit all these videos because I ran out of storage space and I didn't realize that because I record every one of my trades. So I shouldn't have this issue anymore, but I had to try to fit all this. And once I record it, I can't like go back and like fix it, I guess, because I've been stopping the recording in between. So, whatever, it happens. So this one is already rolling. I just want you to see the concept here. I know you can't really see too much, but this, well, you should be able to see this line. This is the curve right there. Okay. So the curve is that part. I'm going to erase it. The difference between what I was doing before by allowing it to enter and what this trade is, the time frame, right? So this is a 10-minute clock. Okay, and I'm trading for 40 minutes. So what looks like this on this screen, which I wish I could have showed you, doesn't look the same when I scale in to the 1 minute or 5 minute. Okay, so if I'm trading at 10 minutes, and normally this would be 15, 10 minutes, I would be looking at the 5 minute chart and a 2 minute chart. Okay, just to make sure I'm coming in at the most optimal spot. Okay, and based on that, that was the most optimal spot. But before we, I mean, and you have to make that decision. So you have to look at that this one here, see what's going on at this level and at this particular level. And I'm sorry I didn't capture it, but the straight line, we're gonna see how good the straight line about to be. Oh, nope, I already failed. Okay, so straight line wasn't as good as the other one. All right, so that's kind of like right here. Oh my goodness, let me just stop. You guys can figure it out. Put your finger up or something, if your finger's kind of straight. But anyway, um, right here, as you can see, the first thing that you see, and for these longer time frames, they may not touch. So in this case, I mean, it touched here, but normally you can expect it to get close like it did in this area and then bounce back up. And then the higher time frames you use, the more it's not going to be on that. So that's not uncommon. Um, and as you can see, at the 10-minute realm, we're in the buy territory, but the moving averages are all moving kind of straight and supporting a reversal, right? So I mean, I don't know if I think this was the only one I actually had at this moment because this was around 10 o'clock. So I didn't get involved in any of the other ones. But if I did, and let's just say I was following my method, all right. So again, this is 40 minutes, and where do we get the 40 from? By looking at what's given to us, okay? So if you're looking, and it's hard to see, and I'm sorry, but if you're looking at like the clear channel, like the clear directions changes, you got one there, you got two here, you got three here, and this is obviously looking at it in real time. So in real time, I can see all this. This will give me the idea of how long I should set my trades for. Now, normally speaking, I don't do over 40 minutes for the most part, especially at this early in the day. If I generally will get later in the later evening because it's slower and more consistent when it comes to direction. But in this case, I know I can squeeze 40 minutes out of this because there's at least four candles where it's continuing one direction. So in terms of studies, what allows me to know, hey, what am I doing? Why should I jump in at this particular time? Well, it's the same thing I've been saying. Like once it's in the channel, it wants to get out. It wants to go back inside. So I can't see where this font is. I'm sorry, but you got one there. You got another one here. This is just blind guesses, right? So we got one here where it's out and it's going to return. You got another opportunity there and then obviously the opportunity that I took, right? So you have one, two, three, four, five, and in terms of the part that I missed, and I'm sorry, that vertical line is the 0 hour of the day. So I separate my days so I know exactly what's going on. Because what I'm paying attention to is everything from there to there, right? I'm not focused too much on the prior day. So it just kind of helps to kind of eliminate some of the mess so I can see, hey, what is going on for the current day, right? Um, so so in same day, you have three opportunities here, right? So if you're up at this time. So again, this is 12 o'clock and I can't see, this is 12. This looks like this is about 4 a.m. and then 10 a.m. is where I traded. So the great thing is there's several assets that you can mix up and do this stuff with. But what I'm getting at is that channel theory is the best theory I have that works, honestly. I mean, it's the one, it's my go-to, and it helps me to find those opportunities. Okay. Everything outside of that is the same thing that I've been showing you. So for each of those opportunities, you see consistency in terms of process. So this was the first one that we can see. You see oscillator is near the top. Again, it doesn't have to touch because it's a 10-minute. Same thing here. But the key thing that you're looking at for the longer time frames are the crosses. So in this case, you're wanting to cross, right? So at this point, this is when you're patient and you probably will enter in this area somewhere, right? Just based on that straight, straight-ish line, right? So that kind of time frame, hey, how long do I trade? What is it giving you? Like I said, 40 minutes at least. I mean, it's giving you more than 40 minutes, but I'm going to just want half of that. So you look at that time frame at the 10-minute, see what it's doing at the 2-minute, enter at the most precise point that tells you, hey, which is pretty much the same thing that you'll see on, in the RSI 1 and 2, but it should be actually touching, okay? And then you enter for the sale, right? So it is literally that serious, that easy. So that was the one. The second one I pointed out, I'm gonna just do a different color, was, and this is just, you know, this is just, quick look here. So second one would have been the buy opportunity on here, in which you have a curvature, which is fine because you're on the buy side, all right? So you can jump in early, or if you jump in late and you want it to cross, the cross is here. Goodness. So the cross is actually on that vertical line. So I can just leave that alone. So the cross is there on the vertical line. You have the early indication here, so you should have probably took it before it crossed slightly. But and then obviously this is pitched upward, which is coming from underneath the 50 and still have room to grow, right? So that would have been the second opportunity going both directions. You leave this area alone because this area is garbage. You don't want to be involved in garbage where, oops, I'm sorry, garbage where it is like no, especially for longer time frames where there's no like fat movement, right? Um, and then that then becomes an opportunity. Honestly, well, it becomes an opportunity here for the cross here. Then you got the early indication of a cross. And then you're not paying too much attention to that because you have a support zone or ceiling, sorry. So you got a ceiling at that spot. So you're fine if that doesn't touch like the top, okay? So you just have to know your zones. Zones, it's a real thing, okay? And then I mean and also remember you have the channel, right? So at that point, as the channel's starting to go down, like you would be jumping in to somewhere in this area. So that'll be that. And then we have the one that I'm in, and I'm gonna fast forward that one after I erase some of this mess because I just want you to see. I mean, don't just watch the chart. Like, I mean, watch the chart. Don't just watch that line where the price point is. What I want you to see is what matters, which is that 1, 2, and 3 area, because that's what you have to identify. Um, what it looks like. So you want to speed it up just because it is a long wait. But as you can see, MACD is curving. Oscillator and RSI touch the bottom or near touching the bottom, and they're just moving up. The cross for the RSI or the oscillator has already taken place. So I'm sorry, you can see the green over the red, hopefully. MACD is crossing, crossing, crossing. And then once it punches through, you'll see that jump up slightly, it looks like on our end. But just understand my entry is at that double white line. So this is a very solid win with a lot of space and wiggle room to get that win wherever it's at. Okay. So hopefully you guys understand. Very consistent. Like I said, you can have different methods of trade, but as long as you're staying consistent to some aspect, you'll be good. And honestly, the time frames are really the only difference that I can kind of look for. Like if I'm going long and I got this one out, I might jump into another one. Obviously, I can't do that while I'm recording, otherwise it'll mess up the video. But hopefully you guys appreciate it. I got one more, and then I think that's it. I'll try to get a full and tomorrow, since I think I just resolved the issue with the storage, since I tried to record this like 3 times already and they kept getting it booted. So all right, so this was a 30 minutes, and I accidentally put 30 minutes. I meant to put 35 or 40, I'm sorry. But 30 worked in this case anyway. Um, so this was today around 6. I can't see the time. I think they say around 6. So Friday evening, not necessarily the best time to trade, just honest. But that's why, like I said, you kind of want to move to the longer time frames. So looking at this, I missed most of my opportunities that I could have taken. I've been running around a lot today. But just going into the same thing that we always look at, right? I'm just gonna show you opportunities while I show you the one that I took. So, 30 minutes time frames, and again, this is the minute clock that I'm looking at, just because I wanted you to see what it looks like on the minute side. Um, but that's fine because I can show you even at the minute side how the 5 minute will work. Okay. So one thing I will tell you, this entire area is garbage. Okay. I would not get involved in this entire area. So just erase that from your yeah. Yeah, even though it looks like it's going up, to me it's too late to be jumping in because you just don't know because all of the moving averages are right on top of each other. All right, so I really don't have any idea where it's going to go, and that's why I didn't jump into this one. Okay, and I didn't jump into this one until it made sense to when I saw, hey, I have 2 points here because it creates a zone that turned into a floor, right? So that's how you have to look at it. Like sometimes you just have to set up and wait for the play to play out. All right. So that area or this whole area you would stay out of. I'll just bracket that off. All right. Um, now, if you're going beyond that, right? You're fine for the area to the right of that. Why? Because again, it's just the long game, right? So, if you're playing the long game, which is what I was doing when I initially set this up, you have touch here, you got a cross, actually an early cross because this has actually been increased, like this has been going upward all, like I don't want to say all day, but for a long period of time. So this is probably one of the rare occasions where it's still super favorable to jump in at the minute after it's crossed. Okay, and that's only because that whole area to the left has been kind of going upward, even though it's going up and down, it's going upward. So you have an official cross. So if you're just kind of like following principle, you're jumping in here because of not necessarily because of this area, but because of one, two, and if you're going to do three, the three is because it still has room to go up. Okay, so you're not at risk of hitting any ceiling just yet. How long do we do it? Again, if you're basing it off of the minute, um, I wasn't basing off the minute when I did this. I did 30 minutes, but if you do 6 minutes, that's fine for this case. Again, where you would want to enter, honestly, would be at the bottom or at least before, a little bit underneath the middle green, if you were able to catch that. Okay. And it would have been fine to do that because the curvature here is going, it's not going straight down, so it's going upward. It's kind of curving upward. Okay, so it's not. And then you would, if you were looking at the other charts, like I mean, you'll see it here shortly. You'll see that it's in a good buy position. So that would have been one opportunity if you're following method, right? So you're catching it while it's still in the channel. That would have been one good win, as you can see, where it just took off. If you're trying to time retracements, obviously this will be a qualifier. So you got to touch here, you got to touch here, and then you got the cover and two area, you got the curve. All right, so it's curving. And how long? Hey, if you did 8 minutes, it would have activated again at the touch, or not 8 minutes, or you could do 8 minutes. It would have still took care of you. You do your 8 minutes. Again, if I'm going against the trend, I'm going to do six. Just my rule of thumb. I don't like to overstay my welcome, but that would have been two. And then do we jump in again on the way up? No, because we don't know the future, and I don't have any touches on this area. Sorry. I don't have any touches on this area to let me know that that's a true like support zone. So it is a support zone in terms of my moving average, but it's not one necessarily for like I don't have any like information on it yet, I should say. So remember, you want it to touch at least twice to recognize it as a zone. Again, it doesn't have to touch, it can just be close. Okay, so at this point, there's no one yet. So that's my one there. So you leave that alone at that point. But then what do you see? So now you can ride the wave, right? So you don't jump in early, but you jump in late, right? So your three would be at the near. So remember, I told you guys, you can work within the channel. You just don't want to be outside. It is a little bit risky to get to the top, but you could have entered, somewhere in this realm here if you wanted to risk it. Because you got one, you got room here, and then you actually have another cross. So that cross is big. The cross is letting me know that it's going to take off some, and I have at least up to this high point that I know it can go. So can it do that in 6 minutes? Who knows? But I would have took the chance. You don't make any money being scared to trade, right? So that would have been a qualifier. If you're uncomfortable with it, which I would completely understand, this could have been your three. Okay, where you allow it to touch, touch, and touch. Okay. So you can work. I mean, I've done it. I mean, I don't recommend overdoing stuff. Let me change this because now I'm changing the time frame so you can see what it looks like. Um, so I don't recommend like over trading all, on one chart, but if you did it, you wouldn't have been wrong. And I just want you to see that as an opening. That hey, look, if it crosses that much and it's actually crossing in real time with all this extra support and I have room to go up, I know I can ride that wave some, and it's still kind of like, and at that point, if it's in the channel, if it's outside the channel, because I can't tell you what it was like at that time, then you just stay out of it and yeah, you catch it as it comes back into the channel on this one. So either way, the other one would have been your three, or this would have been three. You wouldn't have done both. Okay. And then what do we do again? We wait, we wait, right? So, my entry, I actually missed the initial spot because I was trying to set up the recorder, right? So we got one and we got two touches at this point, right? So these are my support zone touches, is what I'm saying. So I know I have a floor there. I have a good channel that is going upward, as you can see. So I already felt good about it. Okay. So I entered this obviously a lot earlier than what you see, but this is where I entered on this one. I guess let me not make it look confusing. I entered at this white dot here, if you can see that. Okay, and I entered there because I knew it wasn't going to go outside the channel because everything was it's my move. I have a floor here. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing. It's just crazy right now. Let me erase some of this. I'm sorry, guys. Um, I have two spots that connect. So if you can see that, your floor doesn't always have to be flat. Okay. So floor doesn't always have to be flat. This is where the creative side comes in. If you have 2 points, you can you can make a straight line. You can actually do it on this. I just didn't do it because I didn't want to make everything look crazy, and I can see that. But that was my floor, so I already knew my floor hit, and I was late to the party, so I caught it as the channel was near the top, unfortunately. But it is what it is sometimes. So I'm going to let you see what it looks like because I actually, when I do this stuff, I look at other charts as well, like the other chart times. So let me show you different time frames. So this is the 5 minute that I was referring to. So when I enter these, just know that I'm not you don't ever want to enter a trade at the top of the wick. Okay, you don't want to come in at the top of the wick. You want to be somewhere where the body is, but respectfully paying attention to everything else. If you're at the top of the wick, like I mean, it looks like I'm at the top of the wick on mine, but understand that there's some bodies, and direction that lets me know that hey, it's been up here, it's been up there before. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have that other information. So don't come in at the top If you do, I mean, you'll be lucky to win. Um, but I don't like watching this. I'm sorry, I left the time up. I don't like watching it on the minute. It's very stressful. So I just want to make sure I'm showing different times. I think this is the 15 minutes. I like the 15 minute. As you can see, just some key things. Like I said, the longer you go, the more it doesn't touch those lines, but it gives you consistent direction. So it's not a lot of crazy changes. It's not a lot of crazy changes, right? So if you're trading based on a 15, and let's just say you wait for a cross, I mean, this is how easy it is to see this stuff. So if you have that kind of patience, and if you do this, it's all about larger amounts. So you're paying attention to just the crosses, honestly. So I'll pay attention to the cross here. I pay attention to the cross here. And then as long as it's kind of going up and I have some room, I'm good. So you're looking at one, you're looking at two, you're looking at three, and then four would just make sure, because you've been entering in somewhere in this area that it's been there before, right? So it has been there before and it can continue to go up. It is showing sell, but it could be um, crossing upward, as you can see. Okay, so very easy to trade. It's easier to trade for the longer time frames, but you just have to make sure that you're good. Okay, so I going to continue and let it. I'll just speed this up for you guys, so you're not sitting here waiting anxiously. So now we go back to the minute just so that you can see the results. And even with this, I think we found some more opportunities. So I entered there, it went down and it touched the top there. So that would have been, where are we at? 3 opportunities that you could have had. And this is the minute time frame. So if I wanted to, I could have took advantage of the yeah, the transition over here as well to go into a sale. It's just like I said, the time frames are going to be based off of what you get. So there's a lot of movement, between down and up. So 6 minutes likely wouldn't apply. So I wouldn't have done it. Just being honest. Like I said, if it's taking a lot of time to go from top to bottom, then that means there's going to be a lot of room where it's going to just do like whatever it wants. So you'll learn that stuff as you do it. So sometimes, like I said, if the chart is giving you more than what you're used to, it's just best to maybe trade longer than short. Okay, even though it seems optimal. But like I said, to each his own. You never know until you get in there because I mean the chart shows, it shows that it could have worked, but it also can be the other way too. You just don't know. So the thing is, you're just looking for qualifiers. So hopefully this helps you guys. I'm gonna speed this up so you can see the win, and I think I was just trying to show you different time zones. So this is the minute, I'm sorry. And then I moved it to 5 minutes again. So you can see what it looks like. And then this is the seconds. Nope, this is minutes again. Sorry. That's seconds. So seconds look crazy. So this is what I was saying with the seconds. It's all over the place. It's very busy, right? So you can't trade long on the seconds. And honestly, when I was doing seconds, I was doing 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and it was kind of like hit or miss. I mean, you really have to come in at the lowest point on the RSI and oscillator and just hopefully, get that bag. Okay. Now it stopped. Sorry. Let me keep it going. So back to the minute, or this is the seconds. I think I'm just showing you what it looks like. So that's what everything looks like at the seconds. And on the seconds mark, so on the seconds mark, so if you remember where I entered on the minute, it wasn't the best position, but it made sense. The seconds, it does not make sense, right? So on the seconds, I mean, yeah, crossovers don't even matter, so I'm not even worried about that. It's showing near the top of the RSI, and then it's kind of in the middle. I'm sorry, it's in the middle of the RSI and near the top of the oscillator. So if I was going to enter, this would have been the ideal place. All right, so bottom curving, And I mean, really, this doesn't even touch. So no, you want it to touch. You really want it to touch on the seconds if you're going to do the seconds. So there's no zones at the second level. Okay, so it's you just want it to touch. Trust me. So yeah, your touch is probably missed. It's probably back here, if I'm being honest. Okay, so I don't, like I said, not a good long-term strategy. And in terms of short-term, it's hard to find a pattern here. Like it looks crazy. Okay, and you don't want to rely on mere seconds to make, a lot of money. So even here where it's touching and it's sharp down here, I mean, the time frame between this area and this area is crazy. Like trying to make sure that that would apply across the board because you have to have more confirmation, and if it's with the seconds, it can really, it's just hard. Okay. Like I like to see clear candles and, this is how many before it starts to curve. You're not going to get that with seconds. It's going to look crazy. So I am going to let this play out and we'd be done. And then on the other videos coming up, I might have gotten rid of my space issue, so we won't have this issue anymore. So, I don't even like looking at it as the seconds. This is stressful. So going back to the 15 minutes to finish it out. And I think I already did, actually. So did it already cashed out? Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, it did. Sorry. So it already cashed out. No, I'm sorry. I ruined it for you guys. So, well, it cashed out. I apologize. You guys missed it. But whatever, you'll get it next time. All right. So enjoy the video. Hopefully you can apply it. If you need any help, let me know. Otherwise, I'll get the actual start to finish videos. I'll probably only do one because it's too much, but I'll try to explain, other things in the meantime while I'm going over it because you can always play back the strategy honestly on the same chart. So while I'm waiting on something to cash out. All right.